Hi, in today's video we are going to look at running StarFront for the first time, and we are going to go through the basic menu structure in StarFront so that when you open the program you know where to find everything. Once you've installed StarFront, you will see a StarFront 4 icon on your desktop. Now before you run it for the very first time, it's important to set this program to run as administrator. In order to do that, you highlight the icon, you click your right mouse button, that will bring up a menu for you. On this menu, you select the bottom option, which is Properties. Under Properties, you will have an Advanced button, so you click on the Advanced button, and you put a tick where it says Run as Administrator. Then you say OK. You apply that change. Windows might warn you that you're changing the settings on your computer. You can say continue. And then you say OK. That now sets the program to run as administrator. Now what you need to do to run the program is put your cursor on the StarFront 4 icon and double click your left mouse button. You will notice that this activates the loader. This is version V of the loader. And the first thing the loader does is it rebuilds your tables. That just cleans up your databases and makes sure there's no data corruptions. You might also optionally get a warning message like this, which says your price file may be out of date. Please check with your stockist that you have their latest price file. This doesn't mean that your price file is out of date. It's just a warning that if the price file has not changed for 9 months, it'll come up with this warning, so you can just verify that your price file is the latest price file. You can simply click on the OK button, and that will then take you directly into StarFront under the disclaimer and license agreement. Now you have to accept that license agreement. We suggest that you read through the license agreement. You can print it if you need to. If at this point I say cancel, the program will close and I won't be able to run the program. If I accept the license agreement, then that will automatically run the StarFront program for me. Now, every time you run the StarFront program, this front screen is going to change. So you would have a different screen each time you start. And this screen is just a method of Wispico getting basic marketing information relevant to the industry to you. Once you open a project, it does not interfere in any way with what you're doing. Alright, so what do we see? If we go to the top of the screen, we'll see that I'm on StarFront version 4. This is version 1.4.32, and my package has been registered to Stargate Aluminium. I'll also notice that on the center of the screen I will have a CDP logo. For the purposes of this training, I am just going to have the Wispico logo. But depending on who your CDP is, you should see their logo. And what you should also see to the right-hand side is you should see a date that the section file was last updated and a date that the component file was last updated. Guys, my machine doesn't have an active price list, so don't worry about the specific dates. I'm just showing you where to get that information. Now, StarFront works pretty much like any other Windows-based software. What we have across the top is we have a variety of tabs. So we start with the Edit tab, the Contracts tab, Configure, Reports, Tools, System Documentation, Other Documentation, and our Help menu. And within each of these tabs, you will get a group of icons. So under my Edit tab, I can get into my section file, my components, my glass file, my finishing, and my different handle styles. When you start the program, it automatically starts on the Contracts tab. The Contracts tab is where I can create a new contract, open an existing contract, close a contract, delete a specific contract off my computer, make a copy of a contract, merge a contract, save a contract to use on another machine, load a contract that is used on another machine, access my cutting list, and access my support. Under the configure menu, I can configure my systems on the program. I can configure my frame defaults. Those are the profiles that are going to be used on the frames. I'm going to configure my insert defaults, which are the profiles that can be used on each insert. I can manipulate and set my defaults for my components to be used on the frame. I can set my defaults for the components to be used on the insert. Then I can adjust the clearances around my doors. I can go to my user settings where I configure the rest of the program. I've got my program settings, and then I've got two buttons, one to check my frame defaults and one to check my insert defaults. And those will just be used if I've made changes to those defaults and I want to check my changes are valid. You'll also notice that when you hover over a button, it will pop up what you call a hint. It's this yellow writing, and it will explain that button in a bit more detail. So if I stop on the systems button, it will tell me those are my system defaults. If I stop on the frames button, it will tell me those are my frame defaults. So if you don't know exactly what a button does, you can just put your cursor over that button, hold still, and it will give you an explanation of what that button does. Alright, then carrying on, under my reports menu, I will have my first 4 reports here are all costing reports. So I'll have my contract costing, I'll have my detailed costing, my itemized rates, and my quotation. That's where I print my quotes. I will have these next 3 on my ordering schedules. So I'll have a section order, a component order, and a glass order. Then I can produce cutting lists in 2 different formats. I can produce my standard cutting list, or I can produce an optimized cutting list. And then the last 4 are general reports. I have a store requisition report. I have a design report. I can produce a window schedule, and I can print labels to stick on my windows. So those are the various reports that are available. There are some other reports which are accessible through different areas of the program as well. Under the tools menu, I can create a backup of my data. I can restore from one of those backups. I can save all of the contracts. So if I want to save all the contracts on this computer and move it across to another computer, I can use this facility. On that other computer, I would then use the load all contracts to load all those contracts back onto the new computer. Or I can save an individual contract and load an individual contract. Or I can save a user setting or load a user setting. This button here allows me to purge old contracts, so I can tell the computer to remove all contracts before a certain date. I can reload contracts that have been purged. Reset data is just something you can do once a while just to clean up your data and remove any unnecessary values. I can access a variety of spreadsheets that are supplied together with StarFront. I can reset my warnings. Certain warnings in the program you can turn off while you're busy working. Resetting those warnings will just allow you to turn those warnings back on. I can export my glass sizes from StarFront into the glass optimization package, which is sold separately. I can change my selected CDP or Creelco distribution partner or my stockist, and I can access my support contacts. Then under system documentation, this works slightly differently. What you do is you choose what type of system. So for example, Creelco Windows, I choose the name of the system, say Swift 28. I choose within Swift 28, there's only one option in this case, which is the casement window. And I can now access the manual for that system, the wall chart, the brochure, a table of standards, some limitation charts, some performance compliance reports, and some other technical information on that system. So depending on which system I choose on these 3 drop-downs, it will affect which manual is shown. And all of these manuals are accessible in standard PDF format, so any PDF viewer can be used. Under the other documentation menu option, I have my standards, Those are the standard profiles, angles and flats and tubes, etc. that you can purchase from a speaker. I have the glass regulations. That's a summary of the glass regulations that are implemented in the StarFront program. I can access my cleaning and maintenance document. I can look at various news flashes. I can access the different hotbox test results that the speaker have done. I can access system documentation such as sash limitations, glazing limitations, that type of thing. I can access the full StarFront 4 user manual. There is a printed user manual, but this is an electronic version that you can call up on the screen. And then I can watch some StarFront 4 videos which just go through some of the critical concepts in StarFront. It's like an online training course for you. And then finally, the help menu. Under the help menu, I can access more information about the StarFront program. I can reread that legal disclaimer if I want to. This is where I can register the program or reactivate the program if it's expired. I can select a list of the different stockists or CDPs that are available on StarFront. I can get a document on how to install StarFront in a network environment. I can access a list of frequently asked questions, things like how to change your currency symbol from a dollar to a rand, how to prevent certain errors in StarFront, and I can access the support. Then there are 4 links to the various websites. There's a link to the StarFront website, a link to the FPD website, which is the Fenestration Performance Declaration website. There's a link to the USolve website, which is software to do the thermal performance or to analyze the thermal performance of your windows. And then there's a link to the SmartCut website, which is the standalone glass optimizer that you can buy that works in conjunction with StarFront. So as you'll see, it works exactly like any other Windows-based program. You do have the ability to minimize the screen. At the bottom here, at the top, you can click on the minimize button. That will minimize your screen. It will put your program onto your taskbar. If you click it back there, it will open it up again. And I can close the program either by clicking on the cross in that top right hand corner, or by clicking on this close icon. So the program behaves like any other Windows program. Just be warned that if you minimize the program, and now the program is sitting down here on my taskbar, if I try and run the program again, I'm going to get the following message: StarFront must be closed before StarFront 4 loader can be run. Okay, so that's just warning you that the program is already open, so you don't end up running 2 copies of the program simultaneously. If you click on it at the bottom here, it will take you into the program. Now, each time you start the program, it will change this advert that is displayed, and that advert will change to a different piece of information each time you run the program. Okay. Every time you exit the program will ask you, are you sure you wish to exit? And then StarFront will automatically perform a backup for you. So you don't need to on a daily basis back up your data, but it is recommended that possibly once a week you do an additional backup. And you can do that through the Tools menu, selecting the backup option. And that is just to create an additional backup which is not situated where the default backup is sitting. And once your backup has been done for you, then the program will exit. So just to explain to those people who are a little bit IT literate how the program is installed. The program gets installed onto the local drive, the C drive, and under the C drive, if I go to the Wispico folder, under the Wispico folder, it will create a StarFront 4 folder. Now that StarFront 4 folder contains a variety of subfolders. It also contains your executable programs, and any updates which have been loaded automatically by the program. So every time I exit the program under the SF4 backup folder, that folder there, it will automatically do a backup of all of the changes that I've made on the program. So that will include all the contracts that I've created, and it will also include any user settings that I've changed in the program. I hope that makes sense to all of you. From tomorrow, we will be going into the various features of the program and start working with the program and understanding how to do designs, costings, cutting lists, accessing the various reports, etc. Once again, thank you for your time. I appreciate you watching this video. Take care, stay safe, and be happy. Thank you.